More than 20 people, including 3 protest leaders, have been arrested in Thailand. It comes after an emergency decree was issued by the government, which bans gatherings of 5 or more people and prohibits the publication of news that can affect national security. The emergency measures were announced after protests escalated yesterday, where thousands of protesters marched in Bangkok. Demonstrators also set up camp outside Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha's office to demand his resignation and obstructed a royal motorcade. Protest leaders have announced another demonstration later this afternoon in Bangkok's business district of Ratchaprasong. Despite the emergency decree in place, political tension in Thailand has been growing after 3 months of demonstrations. Well, let's go straight now to Bangkok, where CNA's Saksit Sayasambat is standing by live. Saksit, we're hearing of fresh demonstrations later today. Given that this emergency decree is now in place, is that likely to go ahead?
Well, that is the big question now of today after such a dramatic escalation of events in the past night with the emergency decree banning political protests and also the peaceful dispersal of the protests and the siege at Govt House. Now, even though right now at Govt House there's really nothing going on anymore and business is as usual, all eyes are now here on the Ratchaprasong intersection in the commercial heart of Bangkok. And just to give you a lay of the land where we are right now, this is the Ratchaprasong intersection and wedged between 2 big luxury malls. Behind there is the Erawan Shrine, a very popular tourist destination. And my cameraman is also now zooming on the walkway behind me. There are already some people sitting and standing there, whether or not they're just curious onlookers or if there are people that are planning to join another protest at 4 p.m. local time that has been called by the protest leaders here at Ratchaprasong. Well, we don't know yet. However, it is going to be a challenge, not only because of the emergency decree banning gatherings of 5 or more people, but also that many of the leaders or many of the protest leaders have been detained. But also it's important to know that they have not been detained for the actions of yesterday, but they have been detained because of alleged offenses and violations for previous protests. So you can see a pattern that the authorities are going through a backlog through all the protests that we have seen in the past 4 months that have flared up here in the country, calling for vast political changes.
Saksit, these anti-government rallies have been building since way back in July. Explain to our viewers then how significant these rallies are and how different they are today than from the past.
They are indeed quite different, and it is actually quite a coincidence, or quite a symbolic coincidence, that we're here on Ratchaprasong intersection, because this has been the venue of many political protests in the past. For example, the red shirts in 2010s, they have been cracked down upon with lethal force, and also the 2013-2014 anti-government and anti-election protests by ultra-conservatives here that have paved the way for the military coup of 2014. And that, in a way, is what the current crop of protesters is protesting against, at least one of the aspects, to end the cycle of military dominance in politics, to call for vast political reforms to the political system, not only the ouster of current Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha, not only a new constitution, but also, and this is very new, this is something unprecedented, the vast calls for reform of the royal institution, the royalty, the royal family that is until just recently, at least officially, being thought of to be sacrosanct, to be above criticism. But ever since they have called on the 10 demands to reform, not to abolish, by the way, to reform the monarchy, now the door has been flung wide open on the public discourse about the royal monarchy and what role the royal family should play in this political system. And yesterday we have seen those criticism and those confrontations coming to a new climax as a royal motorcade went passed through where the demonstrators are. As we have seen the first confrontation of the people's dissent and dissatisfaction with the current status quo at the royal motorcade, where the Queen was reportedly sitting in this car coming back from a royal function. So this is very much an unprecedented level that we are seeing here now in Thailand compared to the previous protests right now. And this is why we are so much in uncharted territory with an uncertain future ahead. How this will play out, well, the first part we will see later this afternoon
Yeah.
here at Ratchaprasong intersection.
Absolutely, Saksit, and we'll be sure to check back again with you on that. Saksit Sayasampat reporting live for us and monitoring the situation in Bangkok.